Yo, hope you guys are doing good. Today I'm going to give you one tip or one major thing that really helped me kind of elevate my photography to the next level, which was something that at first seems kind of obvious, but you can't easily overlook it. I'm here with my friend Dylan today. We're going to be shooting his motorcycle. So to cut straight to the point, it is the location. Location is super important, and you kind of overlook that. And this is definitely something that I seem to have struggled with when I was starting out my photography, and kind of just recently clicked in my head, oh, this is actually something that's really important and you should actually take some serious consideration into, which is the location. So I'm going to quickly strap on the GoPro. We'll head over to POV perspective and give you some tips and tricks on what to look in a location, how to properly actually utilize a location to your advantage so that you can get better photos. Before we start shooting, I actually want to quickly say my first tip, which is lighting. As you can see, we're at a well-lit parking garage. We're shooting at nighttime. Obviously, you're going to have to decide where you're going to shoot, or where you're shooting is going to be based on your lighting conditions. Dylan is wearing all black on a black motorcycle because he doesn't have anything that isn't black apparently. That means we have to go to somewhere that's fairly well lit. Since we're shooting at night, we don't have much choice. If you're shooting at sunrise, sunset, that's also something you want to take into account. So let's start shooting. Are you ready to get some photos done?
Yeah, man, I'm ready, always.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Stand up, bro. Just look towards the camera. So here I'm just trying to position Dylan in front of the lights because, like I mentioned earlier, he is completely blacked out. So I'm trying to get another layer of background separation, not just with the depth of field, but actually with the lighting. As you can see, he really sticks out against the bright white lights behind him. So this is a great technique you can use to kind of get a little bit more depth and separation in your photos. Always change the angle that you shoot at, specifically the height. Always get down a little bit lower or get a little bit higher. Don't always shoot from chest or eye level because all your photos are going to look the same. Us as humans, we naturally see things at a chest or eye level height, so it's always great to change it up. Do you think you could like do that, but just slightly over here?
Go more this way?
Yeah, so just bring the bike here. Front this way and
Front this way.
front this way. This way, towards me. Front tire here, back tire there. Turn the thing left, to the right. Yeah, just a little bit less. Yeah. Always move your subject around. That way you can get different angles. You can move the subject to a better place where you maybe have some better lighting. Maybe the background is less distracting. That's what I did here. You can see that I moved him in front of this nice bright white light. So that way we get a little bit more background separation between him, and we're hiding a little bit of the distractions with the car behind that pole, and we get a nice kind of silhouette shot and a bit of a shadow cast in the front. It's always a great idea to move your subject around in the location that you're at to get a different variety of photos. Look that way. Here's an example of what not to do. You can see that bright red distracting car in the background, and your eyes are naturally drawn to that super saturated red car in the background, and that's distracting you from the main subject, which is Dylan on his motorcycle. So that's actually a great example of what not to do when you're shooting photos. So another reason why I actually picked this location is, as you can see behind me, I am actually now kind of upstairs on a higher level. And what this means is that now I have a completely different set of perspective or angles to take my photos from. So this is also something that you want to keep in mind when you're going out and scouting locations, because the more kind of different levels and angles that you can use to take your photos, the better the results or the more variety you'll be able to have. If there was no opening area, then everything would just kind of be on a flat 2D plane, but now it's a little bit more three-dimensional once we give some height to the images. Time to take some photos. So because we've got this new added element of height, I'm going to try and utilize these kind of bars in front of me to try give a little bit of a more interesting composition, maybe trying to shoot through it, or if it will focus. But you can already see just by changing up the angle, we have interesting perspective. Sit upright. Yeah. No, that's good. I would say, do you think you'd turn to the side and like put your hand on the visor? Yeah, like that. Do you think you could turn around? Yeah, that's a bit back a bit more. Yeah, that's good. Leave the lights on. Shadows are a great way to add a bit of extra depth very subtly into your photos. As you can see here, we've got this nice shadow cast on the ground from Dylan and his motorcycle, and it really adds a little bit of extra depth to the photo, which isn't really so obvious at first sight, but it just makes the photo feel so much more real and alive. Is the car coming? Also, another great thing to keep in mind when you're out shooting, try to utilize lighting in your location. For example, we have these individual kind of light bars or fluorescent lights. So we try to position our subject underneath the lights or as close as possible so we can get more light on him, as well as give a little bit of backlight, rim light effect. Take some time to really get familiar with the location, because there are a lot of potential lighting techniques or angles or different compositions that you can use that you might not necessarily see right away. You can also see how I'm positioning my subject close to the lights to utilize. So we just finished getting a bunch of photos, and I have to say I'm actually really happy with them. But of course, for me, this scenery is a little bit dull in terms of color, so we're gonna go to a different location actually, which will be where our next tip is. So we're at our second location now. As you can see, we've got this nice blue and yellow kind of accent in the background, and that is my next tip, which is to find somewhere that has some nice kind of contrast or colors. But think about what kind of color your subject is. Because the subject is black, obviously black kind of works with everything, but if you had a white car, it would probably look nice against the blue and yellow, or contrasting against the blue and yellow. Simple things like that. You got to look out and think about color specifically when it comes to photography as well. Here it's not super colorful and vibrant. Obviously, if it was colors everywhere, it wouldn't work with our subject that's all blacked out. So we went for somewhere where there was just a little bit of color, but not too much, because we do want to keep it overall neutral to match with our subject. It's too strong. Gotta move the bike. So bring it over here somewhere. Go ahead, do that. Like, look over there again. That was pretty good. Do you think you could park like? Could you park here? More. My car is in the background. Fuck. So we just finished shooting up at the second location. I have to say we got some really awesome bangers. I'm gonna throw up some of my favorite photos for you guys to check out right now. Specifically, really like the ones with the super moody top-down lighting. I have to say, really nice. Swedish Bridge gets my approval when it comes to photo locations. It's actually my first time shooting at this location. This goes to show, as long as you think about those things that I mentioned earlier when it comes to shooting at your locations, then you're pretty much good to go and guaranteed to get some amazing photos. And let me know down in the comments below if there's any kind of tips that you personally use yourself, or kind of criteria that you use for scouting locations. If any of these tips helped you out, I would definitely appreciate a like and subscribe. If you have any kind of criteria that you look for in photo locations, be sure to let other people know down in the comment section below. And I just want to give a special thanks to my friend Dylan for helping out and being the subject or model for this photo shoot with his awesome motorcycle. I'll leave his social media in the description if you want to go check out his stuff and, you know, see this glorious bastard.
No, fuck off.